Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Oh, we're going to have a debate between Mr. Senator Sniper and Senator Armando. And they're going to have 2 minutes for every question. Okay. All right. So first we're going to talk about, can everybody hear me? Hello?
Loud and clear.
Before
Okay.
you begin, I would like to congratulate my opponent for making it this far. And I'm going to discredit some of the things that he says and that he believes that this country needs and wants. This is how our relationship started, so this is how our relationship is going to continue. But I'm going to shoot straight from the hip. I'm going to give you exactly what you asked.
All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Okay, domestic policy is going to be the first subject we're going to have here. Okay, what specific measures will you, Sniper, what specific measures will you implement to address income equality and ensure sustainable economic growth?
So, first of all, we got to cut the head off the snake when it comes to people who are thriving and succeeding off of another person's back. And it's going on for many of years. I will encourage companies to start giving people what they're worth. Now, a lot of people might not agree with that because they say it's their company or it's a company that they built from the ground up, so they should be the millionaires and the other person is just working for them. But if we look at it, that if we put a cap on what the company can or should pay to their employees and what their intake is taken in, regardless of their job or not, then I think that that's going to lessen the poverty statistics across this country.
Okay, are you done? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Armando? Same question.
First of all, thank you very much for I would like to say hello to my opponent and hello to the moderator and hello to everyone in the chat. It is a pleasure being here, and I look forward to this debate. If you don't mind, can you please repeat the question, Ms. Moderator?
No problem. All right, so we're going to do, this is domestic policy. What specific measures will you implement to address income equality and ensure sustainable economic growth?
Okay, the first thing that I would do is I would push some legislation to raise the minimum wage. Other countries, their minimum wage is much higher than ours. The cost of living has gone up tremendously in America, so we definitely need to raise the minimum wage up. I would say at least to $15 an hour. Okay. Also, I would implement I would present a infrastructure bill, a mass infrastructure bill. We have bridges collapsing all across the country. We have streets that have potholes. They're in terrible conditions. That would create millions and millions of jobs for men and women across the country. And then the main thing is what I would do is I would present a piece of legislation where we could put trade back into public schools. It's very important. We had that back in our day when me, Sniper, back in our day when we were in high school, and they did away with it sometime in the 90s. We need it back. We need trade training back in the schools, and that's where I would start at.
Okay. All right. Second question.
Wait,
Armando?
hold on. So the question to my opponent would be, these multi-million-dollar companies that's out there that's paying the employees nickels and dimes, why don't you see as a problem to put a cap on, or to put a legislation out that they have to pay their employees a lot more? I'm not talking about your local McDonald's. I'm not talking about your local Burger King. I'm talking about these multi-million-dollar countries or businesses out there, these companies out there that's riding around in Lambos and expensive cars, living in expensive houses, and these folks that's working for them is barely getting by paycheck to paycheck.
Well, the only people that would have a gripe are the people that work in fast food places. Now, if you're talking about Fortune 500 companies, I've never met a disgruntled Apple employee. I've never met a disgruntled Ford employee. I've never met a disgruntled GMC employee. Now, you may know something that I don't know, but I have family members that worked for the Ford company. My father, God rest his soul, retired with Ford, got paid very, very well. Okay, everyone I know have a relative that also works for Apple out in California, gets paid very, very well. Now, I'm not going to sit here and sell any lofty dreams like my opponent is trying to do, that a person can come in to a Fortune 500 company and automatically start making the same amount of money that the individuals that laid the groundwork to create the company. All right? You have to earn your way to the top in order to make those type of salaries. But if you're not referring to the fast food workers or the people that work in stores, Walmarts, or anything, I've never met an individual that works at a Fortune 500 company, the ones that I just named, that are underpaid. The ones that I personally met are very, very happy. I've never met an angry Apple employee.
So if you never met an angry Apple employee or a GMC, Ford, why do we constantly have strikes asking for more pay? That is what I'm talking about. These companies are making billions and billions of dollars. It's just the same thing as we talk about when we talk about athletes, the college athletes. These schools are making millions of dollars off of these coattails of the athletes. They just put in fact that these athletes can get paid. These workers that's working in stadiums or working in businesses where they're getting nickels and dimes, but they're working 8 to 12-hour shifts. So yes, there are Apple employees. Well, not too much of Apple, or AT&T employees and Ford employees in different states that are out there picketing because they're not getting what they're worth.
Okay, but they're getting paid a lot more than what the individuals over in China are being paid. They're being paid tremendously underpaid. They're tremendously underpaid. Okay, but that's a small. What you're speaking on is a small portion of individuals, and they're not. GMC and Ford does not go on strike a lot. Now you want to bring up college sports. Yes, I agree with you. There's a lot of greed in that as well. But and we're finding this out, and it's going on in Athens. it's not really a good idea to put a lot of money in the hands of a 17-year-old, 18, 19, 20-year-old, because they tend to get behind the wheel of a Lamborghini and go to racing and speeding, and people come up dead. So there's pros and cons when you're discussing that issue right there. There are pros and cons. Can you imagine when you were 17 and you had assets to $100,000? You had keys to a Lamborghini parked outside your house? Can you imagine how big your head would have got? So there's pros and cons to that.
Okay. Next question is going to be healthcare. To Armando, how do you plan to tackle rising healthcare costs and improve access to quality healthcare for all Americans?
Well, I would definitely bring back universal health care. I think we should have some program where it's similar to what Canada has, where the people, the less fortunate people that can't afford the top insurance, health insurance, or they're unemployed or whatever, that they're able to get access to some sort of universal government insurance and pay so much a month, like maybe $10, $15, $25 a month, and get health care. I don't agree with, turning people around at the emergency room, or someone goes to the emergency room and they're in pain and you're just giving them ibuprofen and sending them on their way. I don't agree with that. So we definitely need some sort of universal health care program, a real one.
Okay. All right. Tony, I'm sorry. Sniper, do you remember the question, or would you like me to repeat?
Please repeat it for me, ma'am.
Okay. We're talking on healthcare. How do you plan to tackle rising healthcare costs and improve the access to quality healthcare for all Americans?
The simple answer will be getting rid of all of these different type of coverages and all bundled into one. As my opponent said, there's countries that do have a small amount that they have to pay a deductible. But there's also countries out there that have free health insurance until it comes to you having to have a major surgery, having to, sit in the hospital for a while, and then you might have to pay some type of copay. But I would like to take the idea from those countries and making the healthcare more affordable, if not free. Because think about it, going to get an exam, does it really need to cost you $50 to $75 to go get for a female mammogram? Does it really need to cost $300 to $400 for a family just to have in case something happens? It's like car insurance. We have to carry around car insurance just in case something happens. You carry around medical insurance just in case something happens to you. So my proposal is to go after these large medical companies that are making fortunes off of people who don't even go to the hospital on a regular basis, who don't need the coverage that they're presented to them on a regular basis. Give them something that they can afford, or just let it be a free visit until something has to be done completely.
Okay. Well, do you guys have anything to say each other or
I have a little pushback on that.
push back?
Yes, I have a little pushback on that. I feel that it should be mandated for every American to have health care coverage. Okay, and I don't understand what would be the big deal. Okay, because you can't have a vehicle on the highway without auto insurance. Okay, so if we are presenting a program that is affordable for everyone, even the homeless individual, okay, everyone should be able to afford $25 a month. The responsible thing would be to get coverage. If you can't afford the high dollar insurance, or if you're not working where you're not covered medically by your job, and you're unemployed, and you're just, right now you're down on your luck, there is a government universal health care available for you that you can enroll in and have coverage, because you never know what could happen. It should not, you have to be prudent. As an adult, you have to be prudent and be proactive. If something happens, you have to go to the hospital, you're covered. You're covered. So I feel like that program should be mandated.
Okay. Anything, Sniper?
My opponent said that you can't have a car on the road unless you have insurance, which is true. Car insurance. The question I ask is, how many times have you been in a car accident in the last year? But again, if you haven't been in a car accident for the last year, why are you paying $200 to $300 to $400 a month for car insurance? Same thing with medical. How many times have you been to the hospital in the last year? And for a family of three, $300, $400, $500 a month just to carry insurance that you don't use, not even annually. There needs to be one insurance company that is going to provide you with the coverage that you need. We're sitting around here in this country and we're just forking money out for stuff that we don't use on a regular basis. Should we have car insurance? Yes. Should we be paying $500? No. Should we have medical insurance? Yes. But if you don't use it, you're just putting money into something that you can't get back.
Right. Okay. Next question.
Hold on. I have a pushback on that, if you don't mind.
Pushback.
Okay. Everything you just said, it sounds good. But in real life, as adults, we have to be responsible. It's all about responsibility, Mr. Sniper. I've had my home alarm system since we moved here 13 years ago. Great system. Surveillance works fine. It costs. Works fine. Yeah. We've never had a break-in the 13 years. Does that mean that I'm tomorrow morning gonna cancel my alarm system service? No. Because the responsible thing for me to do as a man and the head of my home is to protect my family at all costs. And installing an alarm system before we closed on this house was the responsible thing to do. Even though, thank God, we haven't had to hit the panic button. But it was the responsible thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do to have auto insurance and be covered. It's the it's the adult responsibility to cover yourself health wise. Don't wait till you get sick. Don't wait till you come down with the flu or pneumonia and then want to run and get some insurance. Why not be proactive and do the responsible thing ahead of time? That's all I'm saying. And I yield the floor.
So, again, nobody's saying not to have insurance, car insurance, protection for your home. But why am I paying $300 to $400 a month when it can be lesser, as we have learned from other countries that do give out free health insurance, that do give out free medical attention? But we are paying more than the average across this world. Nobody said, again, that we should be eliminating the car insurance and the health insurance. I'm looking at the cost of this health insurance. How many company health insurance that we have out there? Why do we need so many? Why do we have health insurance competing with each other to get one individual soul or one family? And then when they sink their teeth into us, oh, we're gonna be, this is the lowest that you can get. But you look at it, it's right up there with the other ones. Car insurance, the same thing. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying to get rid of health insurance. We need to look at the cost of. We got to look at these companies and seeing what they really provide for you. Because a lot of folks go and use their insurance, and it doesn't cover what they're going through, or it runs out. Like a person that has cancer, a person who is need to remove a limb. Their insurance runs out on them before the procedure gets there, or they have to go through treatment, and now they have to look for more insurance.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to the
one more word on that.
One more pushback.
And this is the last pushback, and we can move on after this. My program, sir, and it simply states the universal health care program at the minimum would be $25. Now, I'm quite sure in a 30-day period, someone has, $25, people blow that. People blow that in a week's time. People blow that in a 2 weeks' time. So I don't think $25 a month for something very important as health coverage would be too much to ask. It's the responsible thing to do.
Okay. Now we're on the next question. The next question is going to be education. That will be you, Armando. The question is, what is your plan to address student loan debt and ensure affordable, high-quality education?
Okay, first things first, I would definitely present some legislation where teachers should be paid more. Teachers are tremendously underpaid. So if you're not paying the teachers correctly, you're underpaying the teachers, you're going to get a half job. Some of them, they're just there to kill time. They're not really interested in teaching the kids because they're getting underpaid. Then they have to deal with a whole lot. They have to teach They have to referee. They have to babysit. It's a lot that they have to deal with throughout within an 8-hour period throughout the school day, a regular school day. So I feel like they should be paid more. As far as colleges, there should be some program put in place where kids, more scholarships should be put in place where a kid could be able to go to college, and the family not have to worry about how they're going to put the kid through college, because everyone is not able to play basketball. Everyone is not able to get a free ride playing football or golf or gymnastics or whatever, So those students that are not in the athletics, what happens to them? Those brilliant minds, what happens to those kids? We need some type of legislation where those kids can have money to go to college. So I would definitely present some sort of legislation for a national scholarship fund for those kids, less fortunate kids that come from humble backgrounds, so that they can go to college and further their education.
Thank you. Okay. Sniper, do you need me to repeat it, or do you have this question?
Repeat it one time for me, please, ma'am.
Okay. Education. What is the plan to address student loan debt and ensure affordable, high quality education?
The one thing I agree with my opponent is that it starts with the institution, the states paying these teachers more than what they're paying. If you have someone if you give somebody a reason to go to work every day, they're going to go to work and put full force into these children. And Sergeant agrees.
Hear that?
So the one thing we have to do is we got to look and see, where is this money going that these kids are paying and the families are paying for their kids to go to a higher learning institution, and figure out how can we lessen that amount, but still the professors are getting paid, the facilities are getting upgraded. The one thing that I disagree on is that there's a lot more students out there getting academic scholarships than it is sports scholarships. So the programs are out there. We just need more for these kids who are seeking academic scholarships over the sporting events. The second thing is that we got to use some of this money that the sporting events rake in and put into the institutions. Not the players, not the football facility, but into the actual institution.
Okay. Armando, do you have a pushback?
Not really. He's pretty much co-signed with everything I said, basically.
All right.
And that's only
great.
because you got the question first.
Nah.
Okay. Next question. Weapon control. We know we're talking about pow control. What steps will you take to reduce the gun? I don't want to say the word, but violence, with the V in front of it, while respecting the Second Amendment?
And I believe that question is for me.
Yes. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Sniper. Sorry. Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to put in legislation where the only way that you can purchase a weapon is through a accredited store.
Mhm.
There, I'm going to go limit the resources on the black market, the black web, and for people to order parts online.
Mhm.
That's the problem where we're seeing as uh, a lot of these folks are putting in they're buying parts offline with no serial number to be traced and being passed around. So if you're caught with this, it's going to be a high penalty. If you
Mhm.
don't have, we have to have more control on who's able to get a weapon also. I think that you have to have some type of training. You have to, just like anything else, you can't go into be a boxer unless you have some type of training. Same thing with your weapon choice. You have to know how to use that weapon. We have to also figure out how to get these weapons off the streets by setting a legislation of high penalties of being found with the so-called ghost gun. I think that would deter a lot of folks that's in the street uh, carrying around unregistered weapons.
Okay. Armando?
Okay, that's a very good question. First thing first, we need a very tough gun control bill law passed. Individuals with mental illness should definitely be disqualified from owning a firearm. Violent felonies. I'm not talking about bad checks or if you get caught with, a drug charge or anything like that. Violent felonies, where you cause bodily harm on someone, and you went to trial, and you got found guilty, and your judge, you got a felony for it. You're disqualified from owning a firearm. Domestic violence perpetrators, definitely. So many incidents where you have individuals committing gun violence. They've had some sort of domestic violence in their background. So we definitely need to crack down on that. If you catch a domestic violence charge, then you will be disqualified from owning a firearm. Have your firearm license revoked for at least 2 to 3 years. And as far as getting guns off the street, do random stings. I would get with the local police departments and have them do random stings. And, roadblocks. I haven't seen a roadblock in years. I guess with modern technology now that police departments are putting up cameras all over the intersections, they're not doing roadblocks anymore. But and I think when they were doing roadblocks, we had less gun violence going on in the world. I mean, in the country. I'm sorry.
Okay. Any pushbacks, Mr. Sniper?
Yes. Although I do agree with my opponent here with mental health and certain degree of felonies. One thing that he failed to mention is that when he said that if you get caught with drugs, that shouldn't be a disqualifier. And maybe I heard it wrong, but doesn't the two go to hand in hand? Doesn't the two complement each other? If you have one, and if you're in that lifestyle, there's another. There was a in my town,
there was a unliving of a brother of a sister who was unlived by her brother messing around with a ghost weapon.
Mm.
And again, and he was potentially being robbed by somebody else trying to take that ghost weapon off him. A round went off and went through the wall and killed and unlived his sister.
Wow.
How did he get that gun? Because he ordered parts offline.
Hmm.
When you can order pieces and parts offline, and I know that in taking that away will kind of affect the Second Amendment, but it will also lessen the younger adults or younger people of getting hands on this. Now we have to figure out where are these parts coming from, or where are these whole weapons coming from. Majority of them are order a line coming from overseas, illegally being ported here. So we have to step our game up when it comes to allowing these weapons to come in here and not being sold legally.
Okay. Armando, do you have a pushback?
Okay. Let me elaborate on the issue, the drug issue, the drug charge. Possession with intent. I agree with you on that. Possession with intent. That means your possession with, let's say, a key of cocaine, and your intent is to distribute it. Yes, that disqualifies you from owning a firearm. Because if you're that deep in the drug game, then you are definitely, one of the ones that are out here perpetrating violent crimes. Definitely. But possession, that individual is no different than an alcoholic. They just, they have personal issues, or they have a drug problem, but that shouldn't disqualify them from owning a firearm. No more than alcoholic. You can't go around saying, okay, this person's drink too much. Oh, got to take away the guns. Can't say that. And as far as those online companies that are selling those parts, we would have to crack down on them and require them to do an extensive background checks on everyone that applies or tries to purchase any type of firearm, weapon, or firearm part, anything, bullets, anything.
Doesn't the alcoholic is alcoholic in their right state of mind? You can't drive a vehicle if you're intoxicated. You really can't drive a vehicle if you're alcoholic, because you're not in your state of mind. You can't drive. You should not be able to drive a vehicle if you are intoxicated with illegal substances in your system, because it alters your state of mind. So why would somebody with an altered state of mind be given a pass, but you don't give someone that's a schizophrenic a pass?
Well, sir, you're moving the goalposts. We're not talking about driving vehicles here. We're talking about owning firearms. All right? Now, I say out of all Americans, at least 99.5 have went to a party and gotten a little drunk. So according to your logic, we need to go in every American home or do a random pop-up check on every American in their home just to see if they're at home getting drunk. And if they are getting drunk, we need to confiscate their weapons, their firearms. That's hold up, I'm not done. That's asinine. Okay, you're moving the goalposts. All right. If someone has a let me break it down to you so you can understand. If someone has a drinking problem, and if someone has a narcotic problem, 9 times out of 10 they're hurting themselves, health-wise. All right. You cannot disqualify them from owning a firearm. Now, a person with mental issues, that individual is more likely to hurt another individual because beyond their control. They could just, out of the blue, could just spaz out, grab their gun, and go decide to shoot up a school. Like so many incidents that we've had. Sandy Hook, that individual had mental issues. Dylan Roof had mental issues. Those 2 fools in Columbine years ago, they had mental issues. Most of the cases, the guy out in Colorado back in 2012, he was a mental case. Those individuals are 10 times more dangerous than someone that just appears to drink a little bit more. So your logic really makes no sense, sir.
All right. Any more pushback?
Yes. So I'm not saying, as my opponent is referring to, as going to people's houses and see if they're drinking and take away their guns. All right. A person who is a known alcoholic, who has been, their mind is altered, just as though they have mental health issues. And let's just face it, a car, and I'm gonna take my car and hook it up to the back of to the goalpost and move it back to the center where it was. A car is considered as a weapon if you are intoxicated on narcotics or narcotics or a alcoholic beverage. So yes, people with mental illness can be potentially more dangerous. But if you are on narcotics and you can't control your system, your body, because the narcotics are having, and you have something on you, that is a great risk for disaster to happen. People getting drunk, intoxicated, have known not to only get into accidents, but there are incidents where they have known to go back into a facility and start shooting. Being on narcotics and being on, yes, they do hurt themselves, but it's potentially dangerous for hurting others too.
Okay.
Okay, I have a pushback on that. I have a pushback on that, sir. Okay. Now, it's safe to say, and I just want to ask you this directly. It's safe to say, if someone is born with bipolar or schizophrenia, if they were born with a serious mental health condition, it sticks with them for the rest of their life. Yes or no, sir?
Yes, sir. You are correct.
I'm asking. Okay, all right. Now, let me ask you another question, sir. So you've never seen a situation in your life where you've seen a brother or a sister that had a drinking problem in their 20s, and somewhere along in their late 20s or in their 30s, they quit drinking for whatever reason. They quit drinking, turned their life around, got into the church, got saved, and became better citizens. And they put the bottle down. They cut cold turkey. See, what we're talking about is control. You can control your drug habit, alcohol. You have people now. You've had people that weren't able to kick it, unfortunately, but you also have had some people that were able to walk away from the alcohol, walk away from the drugs, and become better people, become better husbands and wives, become better citizens, and turn their life around and assert themselves and become better people. But people that are born with mental health, it's with them for life. And that makes them more dangerous, sir, to have a firearm in their hand.
Don't you think that mental health people
Last
like
pushback, sir.
So what?
Last pushback. Go ahead.
Okay. Don't you think that people that have bipolar, schizophrenia, and the etc. of other mental health issues, don't you think that the medication that they're on can help them become better citizens, better people? Yes, they got to live with it for life, but then again, their mind is being helped by the medications that they're on. Now, I'm not saying that all people are on medication if they're schizophrenic or bipolar, but the ones that can control it by the use of medication, and that is responsible to take their medication every day, they should be disqualified also. I yield the floor.
Okay.
The thing about it is, the realistic thing of it, sir, is that a lot of those people, they'll start off taking their medications. How many times have we ran into people that have mental issues? They start off taking their medicines, and for whatever reason, male and female, they quit taking them or they stop taking them. You know why? Because with men, it causes some men, not all, some causes issues in the bedroom. And some women, it causes issues in other ways. So they quit taking the medications for whatever reason, or they say, well, I can function without the medication. There's a reason why that happens a lot, and it does happen a lot. That is what makes people with mental illness more dangerous with a firearm in their hand.
All right, next question. Hello, everybody in the chat. How's everybody doing? Okay, next. The next one is going to be social justice. How will you address systemic, racism and ensure equal rights and opportunities for all citizens? Sorry about the mistake. I can't, it's small writing. So let me repeat it. How will you address systemic racism and ensure equal rights and opportunities for all citizens? Sniper.
I believe that question goes to.
No, it's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay.
Yes.
So to end racism, it starts with family. To end racism, it starts at the youngest age possible. We've got to start teaching in our schools about all heritages. Not taking the shortest month of the year and teach about Black heritage, but spread that out throughout the school year. We've got to start putting all cultures that is allowable and that is accreditable in these communities to show that we stand as one. We got to get over this stigmatism of, well, the Caucasian folks were here first, and if we go back deep into our roots, we all came from one father. We all had one father. If I cut my arm and you cut your arm, we have the same color is going to come out of our arm of blood. But it starts with teaching. So I'll propose that we get rid of the 1 month a year, and this goes for National Hispanic Month. This goes for National Black People Month. This goes for, I don't know if Caucasians have a month, but it goes for it. Start teaching everything and teaching it properly. Start reading DeBose.
All right.
And teaching these kids.
Oh,
my time's up?
Sorry, sir. Yes, time's up.
Oh, sorry.
Armando. It's okay. Armando.
You see, my fellow Americans, I'm not going to come on here and like my opponent is trying to do and sell you in the pipe dreams. The correct answer to that is racism is never going anywhere. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. Racism is not going anywhere. It's here. Well, we have to adapt to it. We have to, the only thing you can do as a parent is teach your child that racism is wrong. Teach your children. It has to start at home. There's nothing you can do about what a family is telling their child in Wyoming. You don't have no control over that. You don't have no control over what Billy Bob is telling Sally Sue at the dinner table in Mississippi. You can only control what's being said in the behavior in your household. Racism, the problem, the racism started. It starts because they hear it from the time they're a baby. They hear it from the parents at the dinner table, the racist jokes on both sides. Not just the Caucasian, but also blacks too. The racist jokes. They hear it at the schools, on the playgrounds at the schools, at the churches. You have some of these pastors that are promoting racism. See, the only thing that you can do is regulate it in your home and teach your child the right way, and to teach them that we all are human beings at the end of the day. Color shouldn't matter. If your daughter or your son decides to marry outside of their race, all of this, well, don't bring home no white girl. Don't bring no white girl home. Don't bring no black boy home. Stop that. Love don't see no color.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay. Do you have a pushback?
So
Sniper?
my opponent thought that he could come up here and give "I Have a Dream" speech, but he didn't listen to what I actually said. My first statement was, we have to start teaching these kids at a younger age. My first statement. Now, growing up, is the saying was, it takes a community to raise a child. It takes a community to actually get a child on the right steps. Yes, I don't know what they're saying at people's dinner tables in Mississippi or Wyoming. But as I said, if that community and that family will say, again, as my opponent said, racism is wrong. But you have to go more in depth into that. You have to. My opponent said that they hear at the playground. Well, that community should stop that in the playground, and then teach a lesson behind it, why they shouldn't do that.
Okay. Armando, do you have a pushback?
I give you an E for effort. It takes a village to raise a child. Okay. The reason why I says it starts at the home, because you raise your child to love everyone, to not see color. When they leave, you program that in their head for 18 years. They go off to college, and I've seen this happen. They go off to college, and they get paired up in the dorm with another child from Wyoming that's never been around any black folks, and that was programmed to be racist. Your child could be the one to educate that racist kid that they're dorming with, and to not see color, but to see the individual. That's how you can put an end to racism. It starts there at home, because that's all you have control over, is what goes on under your roof. I yield the floor.
You will be a fool to say that you don't see color. Color is always going to be there. Now, what you do with your sight is a different thing. My opponent keeps saying it starts at home, it starts at home, it starts at home. Okay. But that child is that child is not at home as much as he is in the outside world. That village you were talking about, they're among the village. So to stop it is to educate. To stop racism is to educate by all means of life. But to say you don't see color because I lived in this area and you didn't, or I've never been around Caucasian folks or black folks, okay? It starts with, so those people that have never been around, they still have to go through the Black History Month. That needs to be extended. They still have to see the Hispanics when they get out into the world and have to learn about their culture. It's learning, it's educating. We can educate at home, but there needs to be a lot more education. It's just like when you get a new job, you have to learn and educate yourself how to do that job properly. You have to do the same when it comes to racism. And I yield the floor.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second, please.
Can I go ahead and begin before I forget what I have to say?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay, let's just say hindsight. Let's just say hindsight. All right. We pass a law, we put black history in every classroom. Not just in the urban areas. We require it in all across the country. South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming. Okay, so you're putting something in front of a kid that they don't believe in, that they're not interested in. What do you think is going to happen? They'll sit in the classroom. They'll have they'll pretend like they're listening or whatever, but they're not going to be willing to learn it. You can require them to take the class, but you can't force them to learn it. It has to come naturally. And what I mean by naturally, with life experience. Whether it's with a coworker, an African American coworker, or African American dorm mate, roommate, or whatever, it would have to come that way. Requiring them to take a class, it's not going to get it, sir. They'll take it just to get that credit in the grades. And they'll learn it for whatever time they need to learn it, just to pass, but they're not going to remember it. It's not going to stay with them. The only thing that's going to stay with them is the real life experience with that other culture. I yield the floor.
Did we lose our moderator?
Your moderator has a husband who asks questions. He was asking me about dinner. Sorry, you guys. Okay, next question. Next question is going to be China. So foreign policy, China. What is your strategy for managing the U.S. relationship with China, particularly regarding trade and security? That would be Armando.
Okay, you throwing out questions and you ain't about to trade China. Not really. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not really into the trade, that part of the government, okay, or whatever. But I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability.
Okay.
I would definitely tax them. I would tax them. The reason why I say that, because they tax us when we open up factories over there. They tax us, so I would definitely tax them. We definitely need to quit borrowing money from them. Now, as far as these grants or whatever, making it so easy for them to come over here and open up businesses, I would give that opportunity first to the Americans that are born here, hardworking Americans that are born here. I see so many incidents where Asians, Chinese folks are able to come over here and get grants and open up businesses. I think we're doing a disservice to our own American people, homegrown citizens here in America. Okay. So that definitely needs to be changed.
Sniper?
I believe that our trade needs to be at a minimum and be brought back here, because that will be open to more businesses for our the generation coming up and the generation that's here now.
Mhm.
We still have to keep a trade, but the one thing that bothers me with the trades from the last from past administrations is that they're always being threatened by China for war, but we continue to trade with them.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know how to say his name, but it's always he's the dictator over there is always want to propose some type of something to get us to interact with him in some type of battle or something. So why are we still allowing this? So I will propose that our trade is lessened, but have something still to have them in our back pocket.
Okay.
Borrowing money, we do well. We could do well by ourselves. The only way we're going to get out of debt is by stop taking money and giving money to places like China that can survive on their own. And that's this thing is that they don't need us.
Okay. All right. Time's up. Do you have any pushbacks? Anybody?
Not really a pushback, just a statement here. I would penalize companies that are moving their businesses out of the rural city. I mean, I'm sorry, out of cities like Cleveland, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Atlanta, and moving them over to China for cheaper labor. I would penalize those companies, tax them. I mean, put a tremendous tax on them, and regular audits on them as well, because that is also hurting a lot of our American cities, urban cities.
Okay. Sniper, do you have anything to say? Any pushbacks?
No, I stand on what I said.
Okay. Okay. Next question is also foreign policy. Global leadership is what it's about, is the title. What role should the U.S. play in global organizations like UN and NATO? And how will it strengthen international and alliances?
So the U.S. should play a big role. The one is if you haven't known is that the table is round. So everybody that comes from other countries in the U.S., they're all the same level.
Mm-hmm.
But what they bring to the table is what is what's important. Now, the U.S. is known to protect a lot of small countries against other bigger countries who's trying to take their resources.
Mm-hmm.
That is why that is one of the roles of the UN and NATO. It's more like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Now, with NATO, us giving weapons and stuff like that, that needs to stop. That's one role that the United States need to stop doing.
Okay.
Because, as I mentioned before, there's countries out there like the Chinas, like the Koreans, like the North and South Korean. Their weapons match technology matches what the U.S. can bring. So being in the role of NATO and being in the UN, they should be have a big role in it. Mm-hmm. But we got to limit what we do and what we don't do when it comes to them.
Okay. Armando?
Okay, yes, I do have a pushback. If we are,
Actually, this wouldn't be a pushback. This is
okay.
yes.
Pretty much, we should definitely have a role, but it should not be the traditional role where we're running everything and we're overseeing everything, because that is going to ultimately lead to World War III. It led to World War II. It eventually dragged us into World War II because we were trying to play overseer. We were trying to micromanage what was going on over in Europe, and we ended up getting dragged into World War II. History repeats itself. We can get dragged into a World War III if we continue going the route that we're going. I believe in the Trump method. If it does not affect us directly, we should not be getting involved. And we should definitely, and I agree with my opponent, we should definitely not be sending trillions of dollars to other countries to help them fight a war that's not, involving us directly. I think that's egregious.
Okay. Armando? Go ahead. You have a pushback?
So my pushback is that NATO, and for those who don't know what NATO means, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization was created after World War II. It wasn't created. It wasn't. It was the aftermath of World War II. So it was created so that World War II would not happen again. World War II. Oh, yeah. Okay. My time.
No. Go ahead. I thought you stopped. Go ahead.
The Soviet Union was pushing to demolish smaller countries in its path. So, but again, yes, I agree that we should not be sending billions and trillions of dollars over to other countries. But again, that NATO was established to protect these smaller countries so that it will, so that they can strive and live without the fear of your Soviet Union, aka Russia, and other countries to try to take their land over.
Okay. Armando?
You just made my point. You just made my point. So if you want to go off the NATO logic, yes, it was created after World War II, but it has not worked. It's dragged us into conflict. Let's start with 1951 over in Korea. That was after NATO was created, right? But we got dragged into a conflict. Vietnam. That was created after World War II, correct? We got dragged into an ugly war. And a lot of people, a lot of Americans that were around during that time, they will tell you, we lost that one. We got our butts handed to us. Young men coming back home, dismantled. It's just, it was something that we had nothing to do with. We shouldn't have been over there. Like I said, if it does not involve us directly, we have no business getting involved. And I definitely don't agree with sending money, trillions of dollars. We have issues over here at home that we need, that money could go to. Like some of the subjects that we discussed earlier with the colleges and the health care, and that money could go toward health care. Free health health care for Americans. So you can't have it both ways, sir. You want to get free health care, but you also want to play big brother overseas and control everything. That's going to cost money. So, the NATO thing, yeah, I understand. It was created after World War II, and it was created to prevent another World War II. But even though we haven't had another World War, we've been dragged into some conflicts that we didn't have no business being in. Korea and Vietnam is right at the top of the list. I yield the floor.
Everybody understands that we should not have been in the Vietnam War. That was a presidential decision, and it was made dramatically. But the Korean Wars was one that we were trying to protect South Korea, and I hope from North Korea.
Hello, Viper.
Some of these countries don't have the manpower or the technology that countries have, or your bigger countries have. This country was founded on people getting away from rulers and wanted to protect smaller countries, smaller nations. So if you want to call it Big Brother, we call it Big Brother. But we always, yes, we got to protect our own first. But we also have to protect those countries that can't protect themselves.
Okay. Next question. Next question is environmental protection. How do you plan to balance economic growth with the need to protect our natural resources and our biodiversity? Sniper.
Can you repeat that question one more time, please?
Sure. How do you plan to balance economic growth with the need to protect our natural resources and our biodiversity?
So the best way to protect our own natural resources is what we've been doing. As we mentioned before, in battles, we get our oil from Kuwait. As we grow and we have not tapped in the oil that's in this country, we need to put farmers back in the fields and actually allow them to do their things naturally. So we don't have to get produce from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
We got to start. And as much as this country is growing, we still need to limit the resources that we have here before it's all gone. So one is that I will put back into the farmers in the field, continue using oils from Kuwait and the countries that have a vast amount of oil, but also begin to use bits and pieces of our resources and that's on this soil so that we don't have to outsource too many products from out of our outside of this country.
Okay. Armando, what is your answer on yours?
Okay, if you don't mind, repeat the question. Yeah.
How do you plan to balance economic growth with the need to protect our natural resources and biodiversity?
Well, I agree with my opponent on the, putting the farmers back to work. But I would go a step further. Individuals that live in rural areas that own a large amount of acres of land, I would give them half off their property tax or their land tax if they are gardening, raising vegetables, all right, and offering them to the community, or at least giving the people in the community to purchase those produce products as well. I would eliminate fracking. Definitely, fracking would not be allowed on U.S. soil. That is causing problems with the infrastructure, which is also putting a dent in the economy on coastal states and coastal cities. And we need to definitely, if we're going to go electrical, we need to go electrical. Because this air pollution combined with all of these forest fires is taking a lot of people out. Is really health wise, it's causing problems for a lot of individuals. So I would definitely get with these automobile companies and have them to push these electrical vehicles and slowly do away with the automobiles that take gas.
Okay. Any pushbacks? Any pushbacks?
Nope, I did the best I could on that question. Next question, please.
Sorry. Okay, Armando, you're next. The next question is technology and innovation. Okay. Artificial intelligence. How do you plan to address the ethical and economic implications of an AI and automation?
Okay, repeat that again. Where are you getting these questions from? Yeah, you getting these questions from? Go ahead, repeat that question again, please.
10 minutes to get questions, okay? All right. I'm going to do the other one. How about I do the other one? I think that's probably going to be a little bit.
No,
less.
read that one again. Read that again.
Do that one again? Okay. Artificial intelligence. How do you plan to address ethical and economic implications of an AI and automation? Like, are you guys okay with AI?
Okay, that question just threw me. I never heard that question in no debate that I've ever watched. Okay. But I'll address that. And I'll pick it back off the last question that you had. Okay. Our country, as we move on into the latter part of the decade, which we're in the 20s, and we move on in the 30s. Our country is going to evolve. Things are changing, so you have to change with the times. And AI is going to be the new thing. You're going to have AI commercials. You're going to have AI movies. AI is you're going to have AI teachers. AI is going to take over a lot of things. A lot of these Hollywood actors and actresses that are complaining about what they're getting paid for these movies or whatever, they just don't know. Within the next 10 years, these Hollywood producers, they're going to wake up and they'll be like, wait a minute, now we could just use AI. We could create AI actors and actresses and create movies that way, which will, put more money in their pockets. So they don't have to pay the actors and the actresses, So it'll be a much lower budget to make a movie, using AI than it would be using real people. So AI is the future. It's taking over, whether people want to accept it or not.
Right. Sniper?
I think good change is not always good change. And if we look at our past history, a lot of companies have put people out of jobs by using robots. Think about what the GMCs and the Ford companies and stuff like that. They have put people out of jobs. Robots has put farmers out of jobs. Yes, they could do a lot more. But where's the human touch come into play? We could sit around and say it would be great for this company to have automatic TV or AI TV shows, AI movies, because it's less effective financially. But again, where does that human interaction come again? And now we're talking about putting AI in places where humans can do it. And now these humans are going to be without a job, without an income. And then now we're talking about poverty again. Now we're talking about homelessness again. Technology is not always good. Let's take, for instance, the little thing that we carry around all day, can't leave home without it, your cell phone. People are sitting at dinner tables now with their phones in their hands, and they can't and don't have communication. These younger generations are growing up not knowing how to communicate properly with people sitting right across from them. Can't do a proper interview because they don't have, everything is so automated now.
Okay.
So
do you have any pushbacks, Armando?
Yeah, we've been dealing with change for centuries, brother. That's all a part of life. Change is all a part of life. And I agree with you. Good change is not all good change, but change is coming. And you have to be ready for it. You have to be prepared for it. All right? Some things that used to be around when we were coming up, that's not here anymore. I wish it was still here. Payphones were very convenient. You know, cell phone go dead, you're out. You just pull over to a payphone. But they're not accessible to us anymore. CDs. I like to be able to control what I was listening to be able to burn a CD and put in, at least give me that option. They don't even make CD players anymore in cars. But I'm hearing they're going to start back making CD players in cars. DVDs, same thing with DVDs. I didn't have a problem with DVDs. I enjoyed watching the DVD. But hey, you can't find too many places that sell DVDs anymore. Now, as far as the AIs, it depends on how you do it now. Just like you look at the screen, all three of us up here are using AI, but you hear our voices. Mm-hmm. So there'll still be work, but instead of putting that person physically in front of a camera, they're just going to put them in the studio and put a mic in front of them and have them talk the character and use the AI. They'll still get paid. And you say today is, kids come to the dinner table with cell phones. I remember vividly back in the 80s when I was coming up, kids would come to the table with their Walkmans. They would have their Walkman in their ears, and be sitting there eating dinner. So, change has always been around, brother.
Yeah, I have something to say about the AI. And I know this is not normal to do this, but I think AI is still going to need people to do the AIs. Who is coming up with these things? People. There's people that's behind these AIs, no matter how you guys want to put it. AIs are being run by human beings. It's not a robot who's coming up with these designs. They're humans. It's humans that's doing this. It's apps that humans have come up with. And that's, as you guys say, I would digress. I'm just saying. Okay. Next, Armando, national security.
I didn't get my pushback, ma'am.
Oh, go, push back. You want? Go ahead, push on back.
I would like to have my pushback moment.
Push back. Go.
I believe that change is always coming. I agree with my opponent when he says that. But at what cost did these change come? You look at in Detroit, booming making cars. Robots came in and now it's not there anymore because the humans wasn't needed. Look how poor that country is right now. If we leave things up to people or leave things up to things without a brain, we're not going to be, pretty soon, nobody's going to be thinking for themselves. We just had a discussion on, I think it was GTE, where story writing is done by an automated system. Answering your kids' homework.
Oh, you mean Chat GPT? Yes.
GPT, Chat GT, yes, those things. GPT. But it's again, where's the human interaction? We complain that there's no jobs out there, and we're going to create something that's going to lessen the amount of jobs that's out there for the for human beings that live in this country. And I yield the floor.
And drop the mic.
Well, like I said, change has been happening for centuries, for decades. Remember, once upon a time, we had people delivering milk to your house. Every week, they would deliver milk, replace the empty bottles, and deliver you new milk bottles. Okay? We adapted. When they cut that out, we adapted. When the payphones, at one time, I couldn't imagine living in a world without payphones, but we adapted. At one time, I couldn't imagine us, living in a world where cars were running by electricity. I seen it on the Jetsons, but not in real life. But now we're seeing it in real life. That's life. Change is all about life, and you have to adapt to it. And there will be jobs for regular humans that that goes along with the AI. Voiceover commercials. Is you got to have that natural voice is going to be needed. Chat GPT can only do so much.
Right.
Now yield the floor.
Okay.
Are you going to stand by and watch a robot make your burgers at McDonald's? Are you going to stand by and watch a robot change your oil in your car? As history has also shown that the electronics is not really reliable. I know you've all watched the movie Hidden Figures.
Yes.
And they had they tried to get the IBM, the post future AI, or post future AI, trying to run numbers to put somebody in space and bring them back safely. And that thing failed many a times. It took a human being to use their brain
Yes.
to get the right calculation for it. And the only reason why I use that, because it was a real life story.
Mm-hmm.
So we can sit around and prepare yourself for the future, and see flying cars in the next 10 years, robots doing your cashing you out at Walmart. But if that fails, we have to go back to the old school way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know most people that want to watch a movie, and I sure don't, of a automated. I'll watch cartoons, but when you change those cartoons and make it automated and AI figures, it doesn't feel right. Change is coming. I understand. Change is coming. But we still got to have humans dictate what we do and what we are, because the next thing you're going to have is a AI president. I yield the floor.
Anything, Armando?
Yes. So you said, how would it look if we start having robots change oil, or robots pushing out food, and we need the human element? How many times have you seen a person do an effed up job on an oil change? I've seen it. Hell, it happened to me.
Yeah.
Happened to me. How many times, sir, have you went to a fast food restaurant and they push and you pulled out and you looked inside the bag and realized that they gave you the wrong order? Like I said, you will adjust. And as far as those robots, I remember right before the pandemic, or during the pandemic, when you start going into Walmart and people started seeing the self-checkouts and they frowned up. Oh, that's inconvenient. Now, fast forward 4 years later, people loving it. More people walking toward the self-checkout lane than they are toward the human side. Me personally, I know I get out of there faster going through the self-checkout versus going through the human lane, or someone that would half-ass working and don't want to work and don't really want to be there. Change is coming. Just be ready for it. Pray on it and be ready for it.
Real quick, Together said they had self-checkout and people were not scanning every item and they lost millions. Now they have to go back to human labor.
So I'll ask my opponent, would you rather have human error or AI error?
What's the difference? Human error is no different than a robot. I mean, an error is an error. If I come through your lane and I'm ordering a value meal, a double cheeseburger, and you push me out a chicken sandwich combo, that's the wrong order. What's the difference?
The difference is
it don't make it any better because you did it or a robot did it. Don't make it any better. Wrong order is a wrong order.
So take it deeper. Robots start fixing cars and have so many deficiencies with it than a human.
That's been going on. We've had more deficiencies. Hold up. We had more deficiencies pre-robot than we do now.
We have too much recalls back on robot stuff than we do. not putting in the right nuts, not tightening it down tight enough. Accidents happen left and right.
And you had
Using a
accidents
human-
happening. You had accidents happening left and right years ago. Remember when the Pintos were blowing up on people? You didn't have no robots back then, back in the late 60s, in the early 70s, making Pintos. Those were humans, bro.
And look at your that new car now. What's that doggone a full electric car? That electricity system goes down on it. The doggone thing starts a fire, electrical fire off the bat.
Together,
And
the robot has a glitch, and a human can fix it faster.
I give Together one even better. What if the internet has a glitch and goes down? That human can't do nothing. They will probably send them home for the day.
No,
You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing without the internet, without the computer.
but guess what? If the internet goes down, who goes and fixes it? A human.
Okay, we're on the next question now. Next question. This has been long enough. No more pushing. All right, we're going to national security, cybersecurity. What measures will you take to protect the nation's critical infrastructure and cyber attacks from cyber attacks?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Oh, say it one more time.
Okay, one more time. Let me go back. Okay. What is this? Oh, no, wrong one. Sorry. What measures will you take to protect the nation's critical infrastructure from cyber attacks? From cyber attacks. What would you do?
Well, first and foremost, I will put humans on the front line of these of the cryptid material that we have out there. I will not lie on another computer to solve problems when it comes to these cyber attacks. The one thing that most people forget is that we as humans are putting these together. But these machines, again, are not liable. Codes can be broken. We have to stop being lazy and as human beings and as Americans and putting everything on a computer that can be shut down at any moment. Go back to our manuals. Go back to our brains and sitting around at a table and knowing what are we putting out there and how can we protect it. So cybersecurity has to be done with the right people in place, the right coding in place, and understanding the product that we're putting out there.
Okay. Together said, if a machine breaks down, they have to wait for the parts. Not true. Manual.
Can I say something?
Training.
Hey, you knew? If Together wanted to be in this debate, she should have been up in here in this debate. This is between me and Armando, so we'll read her comments later.
Right, Together.
Let me just elaborate on this computer thing. First of all, I don't co-sign to computers taking over humans' jobs. My only thing is we as a country have to evolve, and and we have to accept the change. When things change, that's a part of life. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do is adapt to it. That's the only thing you can do is adapt to it. Now, all of this talk about robots are taking over jobs. Who do you think is going to be building the robots? Humans. Robots can't build themselves. Humans are going to be building the robots. Now, As far as the cyber, I would put that solely in the hands of Homeland. I would have a task force, a virtual task force, monitoring at all times any suspicious activity on the internet or anything dealing with cyber. That the black web, the dark web, I would have that shut down immediately. That would be the first thing to go. That dark web, because there's a whole lot of illegal activities that are taking place on that dark web. So I would have that dismantled immediately. No matter what it takes to get it done. I would have it shut down. I yield the floor.
All right. Sniper, do you have anything to say? Any pushbacks? Sniper?
Ha, I was talking on mute. My bad. Damn AI. Anyways, I agree. You know, the different websites and different websites should be shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Once somebody in the comments and saying that AIs learn faster, compared to who? But it's at the end of the day, as long as there's human interaction, humans should be the first priority instead of computerizing everything.
Mm-hmm.
It should be the first priority. And the one thing, you know, we say change is coming, right? But what was wrong with the man going out, busting his knuckles, getting calluses on his hands, coming home dead tired, eat a meal and go to sleep and get right? What was wrong with that? What was wrong with the woman going out and interacting with other people and solving problems? Now we're saying that the only way was eventually is going to come and solving problems is asking a computer to solve a problem for me, because of coding that another human put into a machine.
Mm-hmm.
We should limit, if we limit the AIs, limit the computer interaction, then we won't have a problem with cybersecurity, because there wouldn't be anything out there to try to infiltrate.
Okay, thank you. Armando, do you have anything? Armando?
My thing is, like I said, you know, like you said, there was nothing wrong with this, there was nothing wrong with that. I didn't see any problem with the payphones, but hey, they invented cell phones. I didn't see anything wrong with cable boxes, but they invented the DVR. You know, I didn't see. Hell, I miss the way I miss being able to go to McDonald's and ordering a Big Mac and knowing it was going to be real beef on the buns. But now they're using soybean.
Mm-hmm.
You know, soybean burgers. I mean, you know, it's just, that's life. That's the way it is. The only thing you can do is adapt to it.
Or not eat it.
Or not eat it. Now, just like I said with the AI, there's no way that they're going to be able to solely, as far as the movie industry, the Hollywood industry, and as far as TV and commercials and stuff like that, humans are going to have an input in it. It will just be voiceover.
Okay.
And you're good with that.
I wasn't good with a lot of the changes. Like I said, I wasn't. I missed. If they still sold Walkmans, I would prefer having a Walkman over this crap they using now. I would prefer CDs in the cars instead of having to, do it the other way. You have to download songs and program them in. But I adapted. I adapted to the change. That's all you can do. That's what life is all about, adapting to the change. I'm quite sure a lot of people that were around back in the days, they loved the convenience of having milk delivered to their front steps instead of having to go to the grocery store and buy it.
Okay, next question. Social issues. All right. We're gonna talk about immigration. What is your plan for comprehensive immigration reform that secures the borders while providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants? You need me to read that again?
That's Armando. That's not me. That's Armando.
Armando,
repeat that. Repeat that. That's a good question, but repeat it once again.
What is your plan for comprehensive immigration reform that secures the borders while providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants?
Okay. First things first, we need to stop making it easy for foreigners to come over here into our country, because we can't go into their country. Is all willy-nilly. Like they can come over here, across the border over here. We're going to check their backgrounds. Because you see, one thing Trump said is true. They're sending their worst over here. Like Castro did in the early 80s to Jimmy Carter. He sent his worst people over here. Crooks and convicts. Rapists. And murderers. He was sending them over here. So, to prevent that, we do a background on these individuals that are trying to come over here. All right? And they pass that, then they have to go through a process. They have to go through a process. We'll give them a green card, but they're not given no government assistance. They don't get government assistance until they become an American citizen. So, how they're gonna make ends meet? They got to get out here and work. Yeah, they got a green card, and before they can be hired by any company, they have to present a green card. If they do not present a green card, and you hire them, and you have them working in your factory, or you have them working out in your yard or working for you, then we're going to come for you. We're going to penalize you. I'll have a task force that will do random pop-ups on companies, and we will cut down on this hiring illegals in this country, because that takes away from regular citizens. That you're taking away jobs from them, hiring illegal immigrants for less. That takes away. You're taking food off the table of hardworking Americans.
All right, thank you.
You needed 3 minutes on that one. All right.
Sniper, you need me to read it again?
No. Is
Okay,
your dog trying to answer the question?
It sounds like it.
So, my opponent did make some good points. One, there's already a task force out there called ICE. But we have to take first of all, ICE has to do a better job at their job. That ICE has to have the resources to do their job. In past administrations, with people rallying and making a big fuss about ICE, but ICE was was there to take illegal immigrants out of this country. We have a Customs and Border Protection that needs to be beefed up. As I was explaining in my earlier debate last night, that you can't fly into this country without coming from another country without going through the Customs and Border Protection. But we need to beef that up. We have to have more strict laws on how someone is getting their documentations and getting their citizenship. It needs to be stricter, and that's what I plan to do, is make it stricter. You can't, when we say build a wall, you build a fence wall and those folks are still figuring out ways to get through. So we need more manpower on the ground to protect those borders. When those folks from in the 1980s, when Castro was sending stuff, but they were sending over by boat, we put them in camps, and somehow they fooled the system and got through. So we can't live in the past. We have to understand how we can, again, control it. And it's simple. Get some reliable border protection officers out to protect our borders. We have one of the greatest military in the nation. If we have to use them to protect it, we have to use them too.
Okay, thank you, Sniper. Any
How long are you? It seems like our time is going lower and lower.
No, it's been 2 minutes. You just keep talking and talking. Next. Or are you pushback?
It's not really a pushback because he agreed with everything I basically said. He was trying to get the last word in, but he basically agreed with everything I said. More boots on the ground. Now, yes, we have ice, but it's just like having a part on your vehicle, and oil is still leaking. It's not, that part is not doing you any good. So it's time to get a new part, so the oil can stop leaking.
Okay.
It's just like having, hold up, slow down. It's just like having a leak in your roof. Okay, you got a roof, but it's not working because the water is still leaking on your floor. Time to get a new roof. That's why I said I will create a much bigger, stronger task force that's going to shut all of that coming across the border freely, like what's been happening for the last 20 to 30 years. That will shut that down completely. And I agree with you, a wall is ridiculous. They can find ways to go underground if they have to. And I wouldn't waste taxpayers' money with no wall, but I would get more boots on the ground. Bring in more, and that will create jobs. More border patrol, put more boots on the ground, as many as it takes.
Okay. Anything else?
I didn't say the same thing you're saying. First of all, the agencies that we
I said you agreed. You agreed.
Yeah, but to go against what you say a little bit is that when it comes to ICE and your task force, you think about when ICE was invented, there was so much pushback from people from people in those cities like New York and Chicago and Atlanta, where they were pushing back because they were saying, oh, well, this is my right to stay here. It's not your right to stay here. ICE needs to be, and they didn't have the backup from the government, state, federal, or local. They just diminished their role. So yes, the task force has already been done. We just got to revise it and stand by it. And we got to stand by our word as Americans that if you do not belong here, then you come here and you don't do the proper steps, you need to go. The one thing I do say, as easy as for them to get to America, is the same as easy as for us to get down to South America. The only thing is they don't play that. We stick out like sore thumbs. Well, with this country being a melting pot, it's hard to pick and to choose who is here and who illegal and who is not.
Okay. Any pushback?
No pushback.
Okay. The last question, corruption and transparency. What steps will you take to increase transparency in the government and combat corruption?
So the transparency is very simple. Watch who you hire. Watch who you put on your panel, who you put out there to represent you. Do a deep investigation on whoever you're hiring. Everybody was up in arms when Trump was in office because he wasn't a politician. He was a businessman. And you see that the people he put around him, the politicians, had the issues. And so did he. We got to stop. We got to stop letting these folks that's been in politicians for years and years and years, and they know the ins and outs and how to get around things. We got to stop hiring folks who are having stop folks that did stuff in the past at their beginning of their career and is known about it, but we're now putting them as presidents. We got to stop doing that. Your life should be on the table. You have people who have done racial slurs that has been presidents. Back when they were allowing integration of schools, there was a president that said that letting these black folks in is like letting the monkeys in the playground, or the monkeys in a gym. He's a president.
That's horrible. Okay, Armando.
Okay, repeat the question again, if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem. All right. The question is, what steps will you take to increase transparency in government and combat corruption?
The only thing you can actually do is to vet these individuals. You have to vet them. Know who you're putting in these positions. Know who you're putting in these offices. These candidates that are running for these local offices, you definitely need to vet them better. Those individuals need to be vetted much better. I see so many situations where they're electing individuals to these local offices and they have all kinds of dirt in their background. And that needs to change, because the local, what's being decided on the local level affects us the most than what happens on the national level. The immunity thing, I would do away with that. If you commit a crime, and I'm a regular citizen, I commit a crime and you commit that same crime, I have to go to prison for it and you don't, that's not fair. That's not fair. Immunity for police officers, they need to do away with that. They need to do away with that. If a police officer wrongfully takes the life of an individual because they had a bad day at work or they were feeling some type of way, then they should pay the price for it. They should not have any immunity for it. The taxpayers shouldn't have to be the ones to foot the bill and pay the family. That individual that pulled that trigger should hold some type of accountability. But my main thing is definitely we need to vet these individuals that are holding positions that could affect our everyday life. And I yield the floor.
Okay. Any pushback?
Yeah. The only thing that I will add on to what I was saying earlier is that these congressmen, I would change their time in office. We got so many congressmen that's like 200 years old, still trying to make rules from 1960s. If there is a limit to how long a president should be in office, then it should be a limit for the congressmen, because they're stuck in their ways, and then they're all those are the folks that allow folks that have done wrong to continue having a job, which you cannot do at a regular job. And I yield the floor.
And the same would go for the Supreme Court justices, because we vote on local superior court judges, state judges. Then why shouldn't we be able to vote? I mean, why shouldn't we be able to vote on these circuit judges and these Supreme Court judges? They should be required to run at least every 6 years. 4 to 6 years for re-election instead of being appointed, because we didn't choose them. The American people should have some say so on who sits on that Supreme Court bench. We should have some type of say so, but we've not for centuries. We've never had any say so. They've been appointed. They've been chosen by presidents. So if there's anything I could change, that would be the one thing, to make it mandatory that Supreme Court justices would have to run for re-election to hold on to their seat.
Okay, thank you. Any pushbacks? We are, I just have one thing to say before we finish this last part. I will be, or I'm sorry, Sniper will have a poll in his community wall. Please go over there and let us know who you think should be president. Would it be Armando or Sniper? Okay, so that's going to be the poll at the end, and that's going to be in the community wall. We rushed through this to get it, started and everything, because it was getting late. So basically, we weren't able to get that up. So that's what we'll do. The community wall is going to have a poll. Is there any other pushbacks before we get off?
I'll thank my opponent for coming up here and trying his best to outthink me and outsmart me. I think that I have proven my point to be the next president. But hey, he did a very good job, and I commend him for it. And hope to see him in another debate here shortly. Yes.
Armando, anything?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. I appreciate you trying. But I think I've proven myself to be the better choice to lead us in the future, because a good leader has to be the one to accept change and be ready for change and be able to adapt to change and lead his people through the changes.
Well, when you have an
Now
AI
you're
vice
the fool.
president, when you have an AI vice president, we'll understand.
Okay, you guys, thank you for coming. And like I said, the community wall will have the poll between Armando or Sniper, who you choose, who you have voted for. Okay, you guys, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. You guys have anything else to say before we get off?
It's time to eat.
Yum, yum, yum.
Uh,
I gotta cook.
My thoughts and prayers to the two victims of the shooting yesterday. And it was two individuals that lost their lives during that shooting.
One, plus the person,
One.
The one that started the powering. Yes.
Well, the one person, the shooter, he deserved what he got. But
Right.
the one person that lost their life,
And the ones that are in the
by
hospital.
that,
Two of them
and
are
the
in
ones that are in the hospital. Yeah, our prayers go out to the ones. We're
Yes.
praying for a speedy recovery to the ones in the hospitals and the family that lost their loved one yesterday. Our thoughts and prayers go with them. We can agree to disagree. Whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump. Just because you have differences of opinions or you don't like his policy or you don't like him personally, there's no reason to try to take the man's life. At the end of the day, this is someone's husband, this is someone's father, this is someone's brother.
Yes.
At the end of the day, so
and he has been identified. He has been identified. He's
Yeah.
a 20-year-old guy, and
Mhm.
and Trump said he is fine. So he did, talk to the news people yesterday, and he said he's fine. He did get his medical treatment, and he's fine. Bad aimers, sir. Hey, but you going straight to where. All right, you guys.
And that Jacqueline lady should be fired immediately. If she has a job, she should be immediately terminated for making that statement. Most jobs do have some type of ethics clause in their contract. So to wish death on a former president or on anyone, it could be anyone. We ain't even gonna say a president, ex-president, anyone. She should be immediately terminated for that comment.
And we already know that your vote is going to Armando there together. I don't care. Do what you want. Vote what you want. I'm going to have it's going to be a misvoting anyway. It's lopsided because y'all own this one to go over to them. Who cares?
And by the way, there was this is what it was said on the news. I don't know if you guys read it or not, but there was somebody letting them know, hey, there is a guy going up on that roof and he has a rifle. So they were warned, but they let the rally keep going anyway. Just in case y'all didn't know about that.
That's crazy because anything like that should have been investigated immediately.
Yes.
And kept that. And again, just like Armando said, I'm one of those who disagree with a lot of things that Trump says, but he's a man. He's a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So they should investigate that way before he took the stage.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, that definitely opens up another conversation. That is your red flag. Remember I said yesterday, if any red flags come out, there's going to be some questions that need to be answered. But
they're looking into it to make sure that it was actually something that happened, or that the news did not just add that in there, like to kind of just add something in there. Not the news, but the person who reported it to the news.
Yeah, the local police also, because they went to the local police. They told the local police acting like, well, we'll keep an eye on them. And the Secret Service people were, they just, just something just don't sit right with me, right. Because you don't waste any time.
He was definitely aiming for his. He was definitely aiming for his head.
Yeah. And I tell you, if he would have connected and would have, and God forbid, would have took that man out, you looking at, we would have probably had another civil war on our hands. And
Right.
this time it would have been Democrat, Republican civil war. And it would have been ugly.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you for coming. And like I said, go look at Sniper's community wall. We're going to have a poll. It's going to be Armando versus Sniper, Sniper versus Armando, whichever way it's put up there. Please go vote so that way we can come back and say, hey, this is who won. Okay?
All right.
All right, you guys have a great evening. Please go have your dinner, enjoy yourselves, and stay safe.
All right. I'm getting ready to go
29.
eat.
What's going on, 29? You kind of late, buddy.
Kenyon, what's going on? Salute to the chat.
Yes,
Together,
brother.
appreciate that.
Now, hey, together, now you're a cousin. You're not even a sister now. You're a cousin.
Hey, don't get mad at her being honest. Her
All right,
honesty.
you guys.
Man, that's
All right,
biased.
you guys.
That's biased as hell.
Take the fight to the poll. Go to the poll. Make that poll on the community wall, please. Thank you. It will be put up in the next 10 minutes. Thank you very much.